Peace and blessings is real. First and foremost, I want to take this time and give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh through his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, for allowing his word to come out. And I hope you sincere brothers and sisters is edified by this word. And the name of the lesson is called Food for Thought. The voting system is rigged and your vote does not count. Let me say it again. Food for thought. The voting system is rigged and your vote does not count. All right, what you see on the screen, it says rigged, the voter suppression playbook narrated by Jeffrey Wright. If you get an opportunity, man, I think this is on YouTube. You can kind of look at this. But, there's some important information that he shared in regards to the voting being rigged. Okay, the voting system being rigged. This has been known for a long time. And most people that believe in the vote system definitely does not want to receive the fact that the voting system is rigged. That's why I named the lesson Food for Thought. The voting system is rigged and your vote does not count. Okay. Now, before we get into this word, one thing that I must mention, okay, a lot of us, when it comes to the election, electing a president, a lot of us, a lot of celebrities, a lot of so-called black celebrities are encouraged to get more the so-called blacks to vote because their vote makes a difference. Well, when it comes to the president of the United States, did you know it's the electoral vote is what wins the president? It's not the popular vote. I think Hillary Clinton, the last presidential campaign against Donald Trump, she had 300,000 more votes than he did, but he won the electoral votes that got him in the office. So there's a clear sign right there that your vote don't even count, because at the end of the day, it's the electoral votes. I believe it's 538. And to win the election, you got to get at least 270 of those votes, of the 538 electoral votes. You see? So you can go to the polls and you can pick whoever you want to pick. But at the end of the day, it's the electoral votes is going to determine who the president is, man. The popularity vote is just an exercise, okay? It's rigged, man. The game is rigged, okay? Now, food for thought, okay? For those that might not know, food for thought is something that warrants serious consideration, something worth thinking seriously about, okay? Another example of food for thought would be anything that gives you a reason to stop and ponder. And that's exactly what I'm trying to present to you this evening. When I say food for thought, okay, the voting system is rigged and your vote does not count. That is something that warrants serious consideration. That's something that's worth thinking seriously about, okay? It's really something to give you a reason to stop and ponder, man, okay? The voting system is rigged. When I say the voting system is rigged, what I'm saying is when it comes to the voting system, it's fraud and manipulation to get a desired outcome, okay? Election fraud, the manipulation or illegal interference, all ties to it being rigged, man. Yeah. Now, those that believe in voting, hey, do what you do. I'm not here to tell you not to vote. I'm just telling you, as a food for thought, the voting system is rigged, man, and your vote does not count. And you don't have to take my word from it. You don't have to take my word. It's just a food for thought, man. But I'm going to share with you a few reasons where you can look and examine how things are done, and you can see for yourself that it lines up with fraud and manipulation, aka rigged, man. One thing that you have to look at, the fact that you have to register to vote. Okay, you can't just vote. You gotta register to vote. You can be eligible to vote, but if you're not registered to vote, you can't vote. You see that? Let me say it again. You can be eligible to vote, but if you're not registered to vote, you cannot vote, man. Now tell me that's not crazy. But other countries, a lot of other countries register everyone to vote automatically, man. You see that? So why would it be like that in other countries but not here in the United States? The game is rigged, man. Another example that we look at is felons. A lot of felons can't vote. Okay? You got millions and millions of felons, man, that convicted felons, okay? Which a lot of them are African Americans, and they can't vote. But again, in other countries, man, everyone is eligible to vote, including convicted felons, man. You see that? So again, there's another example to show you that this voting game is rigged. In another way you can look at the voting system being rigged is the suppression of the votes. Okay? I mean, think about it, man. You got these methods where they purging the voting rolls of eligible voters. They reduce the polling times. They require photo IDs to vote, and then you have voter intimidation that's going on. I mean, one of the quotes from Paul Weyrich, okay, one of the founders of today's conservative movement, explained, this was all the way back in 1980. He said, I don't want everyone to vote. Our leverage in the elections quite candidly goes up as the voting populace goes down. You see that? This was back in 1980, man. So a lot of times, man, voting suppression, what they're doing, they're reducing the number of people to vote. You see that? And another example to show you that this voting system is rigged, look how the Senate gets down. Okay? The Senates are influenced by the power of the small states, right? Now, you got Wyoming, which is a population of around 582,000, and they have 2 senators, right? But then when you look at California, which is about, 40 million people? They, 66 times bigger than Wyoming? They both have 2 senators. You see that? That's a clear sign, man, that this thing is rigged, man. But like I said, you don't have to take my word. It's simply a food for thought, man. Now, as we get into these scriptures, man, in 1 Corinthians 13:6, it says, rejoice not in iniquity, but rejoice it in the truth. Okay, rejoice not in iniquity. And the iniquity that we're speaking about in this case is the fraud and the manipulation of the voting system, man. Do not rejoice in that. You got people that'll go vote, like voting here. It was voting in Wisconsin yesterday. And you got people that went voted, left the voting poll and was like, yeah, I voted. My vote gonna make a difference. See, that's someone that's rejoicing in iniquity, man, because it's manipulation and fraud that goes along with that. In 1 Corinthians 13:6, it tell you, rejoice not in iniquity. And you rejoicing in the fact that you cast your vote yesterday. It says, but rejoice it in the truth. And the truth is knowing that the voting game is rigged, man. So you ought to rejoice knowing that you know the truth of what's going on when it comes to voting and that you're not in the dark, man. In Jeremiah 9:6, it says, thy habitation is in the midst of deceit. Through deceit they refuse to know me, said the Lord. So the habitation, the people are in the midst of deceit when it comes to voting, man. And also through deceit, they refuse to know Yahweh. You see that? These people are serving the gods of these worlds, serving the gods of these politicians, serving the God of democracy, serving the God of the government. You see, but you're being deceived. And under that same spirit of deceit, you refuse to acknowledge Yahweh, man. It's cold-blooded, man. In Proverbs 14:8, it says, the wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way, but the folly of fools is deceit. And partaking in these voting and thinking that your vote count and thinking that your vote gonna make a difference, that is folly of a fool, which is in deceit, man. But it says the wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way. Those that are smart and prudent understand how this voting thing is, and they not gonna mess around with that. You see? They're going to be able to understand, they're going to be able to separate the lie from the jive, man. What's the name of the lesson, man? Food for thought. The voting system is rigged and your vote does not count, man. And we're going to close it out in Hebrews 5:14. It says, but strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. You see that? Speaking about voting being rigged would be considered strong meat, man. Belonging to those who are spiritually mature to understand that, who are spiritually mature to digest that. It says, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. You see that? So you are able to exercise the live and the jive when it comes to voting, the good and the evil, man. Yeah. Voting being rigged is considered strong meat, man. And if you're a babe and if you're not immature enough, if you're not spiritually mature enough to receive this, you ain't going to be able to digest what I just said to you. It's cold-blooded, man. And once again, I'm not telling nobody not to vote. All I'm saying is food for thought. In other words, the voting system being rigged and your vote not counting is something that warrants serious consideration. It's something worth thinking seriously about. It's something that gives you a reason to stop and ponder, man. Yeah, man. Cold-blooded, man. Cold-blooded. You saw what happened with George Bush and Frank Gore. I believe was it Frank Gore? I think Frank Gore was deemed president, and then they had a recount in Florida, and all of a sudden, George Bush won, and it wasn't a coincidence. His brother just so happened to be the governor of Florida. You see that? This man had already won, and then they had to do a recount, and then Bush won. It wasn't on accident. That was blatant, you see? But again, man, I hope you sincere brothers and sisters was edified by this word. We give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh through his only begotten son, Yahushua, for allowing this word to come out, man. Shalom.